Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to another edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this Hump Day. It is a Hump Day. We got lots to get to today. Of course, a lot of USF news. It's been a very interesting 24 hours for myself, so we will get to that right off the top here in just a little bit. Kevin O'Donnell, who's been chasing this story as well at Fox 13, will join me at 10:45. Corey Long will join us at 11:15. We got some Tom Brady sound we want to get out there. We did not get to yesterday because of all the talk of the Todd Bowles press conference and the USF stuff that broke late. So we'll get to all that. The Bolts lose in Boston last night, 3-1. And a very interesting game, a great hockey game, I thought, for a game that just had 4 goals in it. It was a fantastic hockey game last night. So we'll be getting into that. The United States men's national team wins yesterday 1-0. Was definitely a shot in the cojones to the Iranians, no doubt. Maybe even Christian Pulisic. We will break that down for you as well. College football playoff rankings came out last night. Should be an interesting final week there. So lots more to get to. I'll say good morning to my good friend and outsider from outsider.com, Nick Geddes. How are you this morning, my friend?
Good morning. Did you have a good day yesterday?
It started really well, but then it didn't go very well.
It seemed like an eventful day on Twitter yesterday.
It wasn't a very eventful day. And, part of this business is, when you put yourself out there in the arena and you're trying to break stories and you're out there talking to people and trusted sources, you got to go with your gut. And sometimes the gut is good. Sometimes the gut is not bad and not good. And in this particular situation, which I'm going to get into, I trusted my sources. I believe what they told me. And I think there have been certain circumstances that have happened since they told me, and I'm going to be completely honest with everybody here today. And the reason I put out yesterday on my original tweet that it was not done, and I felt that it was that most of this stuff had been agreed to, 90% of it had been agreed to. I said that it was not done. And of course, I understand people get very, very excited. I tried to put that out there, but I think that gets missed a lot of times. And these things change. There's no question about it. So, yes, my sources were very, very good. And my sources that gave me this information have been spot on the whole time. When everybody was saying Deion Sanders wasn't even part of the equation at Florida State way back then with Mike Norvell, we knew otherwise. Now, he was never a serious candidate at that particular time, but that was part of the conversation. Then he becomes the head coach at Jackson State subsequent to that, and now is very much in demand. So, what I'm trying to do here is give you folks all the information that I'm getting and trying to give it to you in real time and understand that these things are changing. Now, if I'm writing for a newspaper or going on News Channel 8 or something like that, I wouldn't use those particular words. And there would be certainly a much bigger threshold of, quote, reporting to do there. And, this is sports radio. I qualified it by saying it was 90% there. And the people I were talking to are directly linked, and I mean directly linked to Deion Sanders. Understand, I went to school with Deion Sanders many, many years ago. I covered him for the first couple of years. Deion probably doesn't remember me. I think he would obviously know me if we talked, and and I reminded him and all that. We spent a lot of time together way back then, but that was freaking 30 years ago. And I've talked to him since then. I didn't talk to him directly for this story, but I talked to somebody who was very, very close to him and literally texts with him every single day. And I know is a very, very trusted source. And I know for a fact that Deion Sanders was here in Tampa. He was spotted by multiple people, multiple confirmations on that at the airport. Being on camp, I originally was told that he was in the football facility. I since now believe that he was not. I believe that he was on campus at some point, but I definitely know he was here in Tampa. No question about that. And I know, and Deion has even already said that, yes, USF has talked to him, and he has been vetted by USF. They've had conversations. So all of this is true, 100% true. What I was told was that 90% of the big things were agreed to, and I was given specific numbers, which I reported. 5 years, $25 million. $5 million for his assistant coaching staff, and other details which I put out there, that he wanted to get the stadium done expedited as soon as possible in 3 to 4 years, whatever it would take. Also, that he wanted full control of football operations. There were roster issues. He wanted to bring his son Shudor with him. All these things were right from the horse's mouth and part of the conversation, and I stand by all of that. What has changed, and what definitely changed, was the fact that the Cincinnati job came open. And Cincinnati has since reached out to Deion Sanders, and I do not know, just from the outside looking in, would I take the Cincinnati job or the USF job? Clearly, you would take the Cincinnati job. They're going into a Power 5 conference. They were just in the playoff. The facilities, everything, it's obviously better than USF. Better talent already there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what it's been a very well-coached team and ready to win. And I believe he could go right in there and win just like he could at USF. So that has changed. And I think that has changed the model. Frankly, was I played? Was USF played? Is Colorado being played in order for him to get more money to another place? That is absolutely 100% a possibility. 100%. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. This happens all the time to reporters. Reporters get played. Schools get played. Administrators get played. It's part of the process. And is that something that Deion would do? Of course. Why not? Why wouldn't he? It's part of the game. You want to get the most money, the most price, the most everything, the best conditions. You want to have leverage. That's how you do it. You get other people involved. That's part of it. Does that make him a dishonest man? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Does it make me dishonest? No. Does it make me dishonest? I reported what I found out with trusted sources, and that's where I go. And yeah, I've taken a lot of flack from a lot of people. I don't care. I really don't. I'm doing the best job I can, and I'm trying to get you guys as much information as I can. I'm not trying to clickbait you. I don't do that. Never have, never will. If I hear something and I feel it's a trusted source, I'm going to tell you what it is. And I've been way more right than I've been wrong on big stories. Tom Brady, Jimbo Fisher, we can go back. And for those of you who always want to bring up the Bob Stoops thing, I said it then. The deal was not done. I said that he was in final negotiations to get the deal done. I still stand by that story. The president, for political reasons, pulled the plug, and look what happened. They went with Willie Taggart. So these things happen when you get in the arena. Now, if you're on the outside and you want to just take shots on other stations and you never break a story in your entire life, if you're not the man in the arena, you have nothing to say. You have nothing to say. And please, this, and I've heard all this stuff. People are reaching out to me. Oh, they're saying this and that. Those people over there, when their ratings get to 1/4 of what mine were, they can talk. When they go work for another station, and instead of the one they've grown up in that's paid them $5 an hour for the rest of their life and probably still is, then I'll listen to you. When you win multiple reporting awards and you work for major news organizations like NBC Sports and News Channel 8 and the Atlanta Falcons and win all the awards, then you can talk to me. But until your resume gets one scintilla of mine, fat guy, shut your mouth. All right. Just had to go there. Sorry. Anyway, this is where I think it is right now. And we'll see where it goes. Is USF still in play for Deion? I think so. I think he's weighing all his options. And when he weighs his options, I think he's going to look at Cincinnati and go, that's a much better option. But Cincinnati may go in another direction. Who knows? Who knows how this thing plays out? I know Deion is really focused on his game this week. Jackson State's playing Southern in Jackson for the SWAC championship. I know he's very much concentrated on that. He can focus on that and also go and compartmentalize what he needs to do. So with this coaching search, but I do think he's going somewhere, and I still think USF is in play. I don't think they're the leader in the clubhouse at this particular point. I think that's more Cincinnati. Is it my gut feeling now that USF and Colorado were used to get more money and open more doors? And I think there may be some more doors that might open. Yes, absolutely. And that's what coaches do. That's what in-demand coaches do. And I think that's what Deion is doing. So if I got hopes up for USF fans, and I'm sure I did, I apologize for that. For that, I am sorry. It's why I qualified the tweet with 90%. I sincerely apologize if I got your hopes up and it doesn't happen. And if it happens, great. Everybody's happy. If it's Jamie Chadwell, I think you got a good coach. If you know, and we'll see where it goes. But at this particular time, I feel much less confident that Deion Sanders is going to be the coach at USF. And I'm just being honest with you guys. Just being honest with you. So I think it was more USF getting played and me getting played and Colorado getting played. My gut feeling says yes, that's what it was. But it is what it is. And so we'll move on. We'll hear from Kevin O'Donnell at 10:45. He's been chasing this story. He's maybe talking to the same people I'm talking to. I don't know, but he's gotten a lot of the same information that I've gotten. So Bruce Feldman has talked about USF and Deion Sanders. A lot of folks in the national media have. That's where it stands right now, though, as far as I'm concerned. And we'll see where it goes, and we'll keep you posted. When we find out, we'll find out. All right. Next. Yeah. Do you want? No, we're not. We don't need to play that right now. Let's move on to the U.S. men's national team. You watched the game in its entirety yesterday. I was doing some film taping over here and then watched the highlights for the most part later on. Your general impression of what you saw yesterday. Did they do what they did what they had to do with the result? But I also heard a lot of the pundits saying this team could be so much better than it is if they were more attacking. But they got through, and that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, they got through, and they only gave up 1 goal in all 3 games, and it wasn't even an open field. It was just a PK. So yeah, I think you take that any day of the week. And Greg Berhalter has been very criticized by a lot of people. I've probably cut him more slack than others, but he's won a Gold Cup. He's dominated Mexico since he's gotten to the U.S. He took over a program that was in shambles. He totally flipped it from a philosophy standpoint. We're going to go with the youth, and you qualify for the World Cup. You get out of the group, and now you have a chance to get into the quarterfinal for the first time since 2002 against an opponent that I think you might be able to match up against with the Netherlands. But speaking to what happened yesterday, I thought they were pretty composed for the most part. Once again, didn't see much from Iran's attack at all. And when we came into the World Cup and you were asking me to kind of go over the strengths and weaknesses of this squad, I told you if I was a question mark, it was going to be the center back pairing, because we were going to have an MLS guy in Zimmerman, and then we were going to have Tim Ream, who's 36 years old, by the way.
Right.
And he looks like he's drank the wine, and he's better right now than he was at 25 years old or 26 years old. I mean, he's been really good. And then yesterday, Berhalter makes a big decision to put in Cameron Carter-Vickers, who him and Ream have never played together in the back line, never have played together. And he puts him in there, takes a big gamble in a must-win game. And they were fantastic. They were fantastic back there. The midfield dominated again with Musa, McKinney, and Adams. If there's an undoing for this U.S. club, like you mentioned, and all the analysts have said, attacking-wise, they're lacking. They are lacking a good amount. And, you get the first goal against Wales with Timothy Weah, and then they had nothing else. England, they had chances, and they lacked that finishing quality.
Yes. And
then yesterday, they had some chances, but they couldn't really put anything on goal. I thought they kind of struggled there. I thought Tim Weah didn't show good enough quality there when he had that one header. Yeah. And he had so much more room, and he probably could have brought it down with his foot, or maybe even volleyed it home or something like that. But you know what? Christian Pulisic he's Captain America. He's Captain America, and he's assisted on the first goal against Wales. He scores this one. That's what great players do.
Created a lot of chances.
He created a lot of chances. Yeah. He gave his you-know-whats for his country. So that's one of the greatest moments in the history of the U.S. national team right there.
A nut shot is the greatest moment in the history of U.S. soccer. Yeah, put that in perspective, because I was looking at some of the results of must-win games. I think this is only the second time in a must-win game that we've advanced to the second round. I know we've advanced in other times, but in a winner get-in scenario, this is only the second time.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. If a loss, it's hard to even sum up what a loss yesterday would have meant. It would have set back this country again with soccer, which we've taken so many advancements in. I mean, the
loss to Trinidad and Tobago to not get in the World Cup will go down in history.
Yes, that one that
produced the what are we doing?
Oh yeah, that's still the worst moment, but this still would have continued that setback if you can't get out of this group against a Wales squad that, quite frankly, is probably the worst team in this World Cup. You can make an argument, and an Iran squad that has a lot more has a lot more going on behind the scenes than on the field. So, but they got out. I mean, I'm trying to see about, how further they can go in this tournament. And, the Netherlands, that's going to be a tough team. I think they match up a little bit better with them because they have a lot of speed. They have a lot of speed they can bring to the table, but the Netherlands has a lot of really good players. You're going to learn about them, some of them this week. Virgil van Dijk, one of the best center backs in the entire world. Cody Gakpo, one of the best young players in the world. He scored in every game so far for the Netherlands. So the good thing is Pulisic's going to be back. I don't know if you saw his post from the hospital.
No.
Yeah,
he went to the hospital.
He went to the hospital, to get scans. Pelvic contusion, I believe, is what they called it.
Is that what they call it?
Pelvic contusion, which I think we may have all had one of those.
I think
along the line.
Nut shots are better.
But it looks like he confirmed. He's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back." And so they're playing inspired. What I love to see yesterday, it's like
let's just hope the swelling doesn't last as long as Ryan Jensen. That's all I'm. We hope the swelling goes down quicker than it did for Ryan Jensen.
We sure hope so. Yeah. But yeah, it was cool though yesterday. I mean, regardless of everything that was going on with Twitter yesterday, the game started. I love going on a Twitter feed, and it's like everybody's watching soccer. I think for me as a big soccer nut that sometimes feels like I'm blindlessly tweeting out there about soccer, I love seeing that everybody's involved. Yeah. McDitton's was popping yesterday during midday. No, I did not, but I saw Fox 13 had reporters out there, and there were a lot of people there. Kansas City, which has turned into a soccer hub all of a sudden, oddly enough. I mean, there was people all across the country. So when we were talked about, buzz for the World Cup, it's there now. It's there now.
Yeah. And now this Dutch game. When do we play the Dutch?
That's going to be on Saturday in the morning, 10 a.m.
Wow. Well, that's good.
So it's going to lead into college football. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. And it takes 2 hours. So.
Yep.
And then we get all the championship games on Saturday.
Yep.
Oh, nice. That should be fun. With your Berhalter, before we look ahead to that match, can we play the goal, the Pulisic goal from yesterday from Fox Sports? And this was, we'll set the scene for this as far as when it was scored in the situation.
Yeah, this was scored in the 38th minute, and this was really just kind of an attack out of nowhere. 4 quick passes. This is fantastic passing right here. McKinney puts a nice ball into Sergiño Dest, and he gets it with his head, and he puts it right there for Pulisic to smash it into the net. So here was the call via Fox Sports.
Robinson, back for the captain, Tyler Adams. Austin McKinney, Dest making a big run. It's meant for him. Dest is stuck in behind. Dest into the middle. Pulisic scores! Might have paid the price, but the U.S. takes the lead.
But that will become a drop, right? Synonymous with the nut shot. May have paid the price.
Yep. Yeah, I tell you what, though. Talk about big goals in USA history. That's right up there with the Landon Donovan against Algeria in 2010 to send them through. The John Brooks against Ghana, if you recall, in 2014, which was the last time they had won a match. It had been over 8 years since they had won a World Cup match. That game against Ghana, where John Brooks gets the header in like the 86th minute, I believe, to win that game. And this one's right up there. I think those are the 3 big goals in USA men's soccer history. And I'm telling you, I was critical of Pulisic's play in the first game. I thought he could be a lot better than that, and he has definitely stepped up. And you can see why now he's the most talented player that this Federation of Soccer has ever had.
Yeah, it's definitely. He stands out as just different than everybody else out there, and that's what you need, someone like that. Now the question is, does Berhalter kind of roll the dice here now? Because once you get through to the second round, aren't you kind of playing with house money at this point, or the expectations more than that? Does Berhalter put Reina in up front and put more of an attacking team in there and try to do it? I hear people, chiding him to do so. Do you think he will? Should he?
I don't know who you take out is the problem. The midfield, Adams, Musa, McKinney.
You don't want to mess with that.
You're not messing with that.
You're controlling the game.
The thing with those 3 guys is none of them are really attacking centric. They're very do the dirty work and get possession and defend the back line like Tyler Adams has done perfectly for 3 games now. He's been the best player, I think, honestly, for the U.S. So that's the problem. You can't really mix up that midfield. So I think you're a bit limited what you can do from a tactics standpoint. Obviously, Pulisic's going to be on the left. Weah's going to be on the right. I don't think that's changing. So it's just that center position. But the problem is the U.S. doesn't have a striker that they can really count on to put in that spot. Josh Sargent went into the lineup again yesterday, had his moments. He went out with injury. Haji Wright came back in, and Alexi Lawless was criticizing that sub after the game, that Haji Wright really didn't add anything. So Jesus Ferreira hasn't played yet in the World Cup.
Play that center?
I don't think he typically plays that. I mean, I've seen him play a lot more on the wing at Dortmund. So that's kind of the thing. It's like, who are you going to take out? I think that's the thing. The midfield is so good at what they do and what they bring to the squad. You can't really, I just think you're limited from a tactics standpoint. But I think the fact that Giovanni Reyna can't even come on as a sub, that to me is the most alarming thing, because there was a point in that game, probably from the 50-minute mark to the 80-minute mark, where the U.S. looked like they were losing their grip a little bit. And it looked like you had some tired legs, and he was a little slow with the subs. And you didn't get Giovanni Reyna up there. So I don't know what's going on there. There's something with his father, I think, that's behind the scenes, that with Berhalter, there's a lot of drama there. So
really?
Yeah. I'm not up to speed on all of it, but I've heard some of that stuff going on. So
did Berhalter and your dad play together?
They might have.
Yeah.
They might have, yeah.
I would think.
Because Berhalter was on the 2002 World Cup squad for the U.S., and I believe Claudio might have been on that team as well.
Yeah. At some point, they played together, because they're basically the same age,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I would think. So they're strong. Oh.
But there's also match fitness. There's this whole thing with the match fitness going on about he might not be completely fit, Giovanni Reyna, and that's why Berhalter's keeping him out. But it's tough to tell right now. It's tough to tell.
So in the first 3 games, Reyna's played, 20 minutes?
About 20 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Not good enough for one of your more talented players.
Yeah. All right. So we will look ahead to that coming up on Saturday and see. And so they're in the round of 16 right now. So
round of 16.
And I don't want to ignore the rest of the tournament. From what you've seen in the first group and the group stage, who do you think now is the favorite?
Well, I think this has been a very unpredictable World Cup. I think every team, no team yet, I think, has played completely to their strengths, but I like what Portugal has done so far. Bruno Fernandes, I think, has been the player of the tournament, and they seem to be, of the top teams, they seem to have it together more than anyone else. Brazil, without Neymar at the moment, that kind of hurts them a little bit. Mm-hmm. So they lose some of their attack, but they're also as deep as any team. France came in with a lot of injuries, and that's kind of holding them back, I think, in my opinion, to being a top team to worry about. I don't think Germany has it for this tournament. England, good performance against Wales yesterday when their manager, Gareth Southgate, made some changes. Mm-hmm. So I think right now I'd say Portugal. And then after that, even without Neymar, I'm still going to lean Brazil, because they still have probably the second deepest roster here at the World Cup other than Portugal. So I think Portugal and Brazil to be are my favorites.
All right, let's move on to the Lightning as they fall last night 3-1 to the Boston Bruins. Back-to-back games. Vasi gives up an early goal again. Not a tip in. I'm not going to throw that one too hard at Vasi, but the fact that he's given up early goals just again is bothersome. The last one was an empty netter, so they only gave up 2 last night. And I thought the Lightning were clearly the better team in the latter half of the first, the entire second, and parts of the third. I'll be honest with you, I like what I saw last night. And I think Swayman, the goalie for Boston, was really good last night. He was really good. He stole – I don't want to say he stole the game, but I just thought 5-on-5, the Lightning were really good last night. And if Boston is undefeated at home this year, I thought you'd see the best from the Lightning, and I think we did. They just lacked the finishing touches last night. They really did.
I thought it was a hell of a hockey game. Really I tweeted that out. I mean, just taking the bias from the Lightning standpoint out of it, I thought that was a hell of a played hockey game from 2 teams. The Lightning, I think the second period, that was one of the best second periods the Lightning have played maybe all season. Mm-hmm. And they had the possession battle squarely in them through the first 2 periods. And the third period I thought was a bit more even. But to your point, Swayman played fantastic. I thought the Lightning had chances and they just weren't able to convert. And now, this is twice they've played Boston in the last, 8 days?
Yep.
And they've gotten beat by Ullmark and they've gotten beat by Swayman. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. I mean, there was nothing yesterday that I hated about the Lightning's game. Yeah. I really didn't. I thought they matched up really well.
Yeah, Stamkos gets to 998.
990. Yeah, 998.
998.
Or 999. Yeah, 999.
Okay, was it 998? So he gets to 999 and looked familiar too. We have that goal.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the ones he scored before in his career.
Looks very familiar.
He gets it again behind the net. Lines for Kucherov, right circle. Nikita Kucherov in front for point. Back for Kucherov, right circle. Left circle. Stamkos! Score! Stamkos! The Lightning have tied the game at 1. Point 999 for Steven Stamkos. They were really converging on point because I think they noticed after their breakdown in the first period of that power play, Point was so wide open. They were really converging on him, the Bruins were. So Point got it back to Kucherov. That opened up the passing lane to Stamkos. And once that pass got through, Stamkos had a lot of room and a lot of net.
Beautiful shot by Stammer right there to make it 1-1. And then the Lightning give up a power play goal to give up the difference maker. And who scored that goal? I'm trying to remember now. For Boston.
Was it Taylor Hall?
Yeah, Taylor Hall got both of them last night. So, it's special teams that hurt you last night, and that's what happens when you get two good hockey teams like that. I thought it was, I think a lot of people believe that, I've seen at least in the national media and even, some in the local media that the Lightning are kind of just a middling team this year. And, I would say to some degree that's true. I don't think they've been dominant at all. I mean, they're not, they're obviously not playing their A game. I think we've said the C- to C game all year long. I think last night was closer to their A game, B+, A- game. You can't give them anything more than that because they couldn't finish and they didn't win. So, but I like what I saw last night. And don't forget, a big part of this team is still on the sidelines in Cirelli. So this is not the full complement of what this team is going to be, hopefully, when they get to the playoffs. But I thought what I saw last night was very encouraging.
Yeah, and here's the big problem with the Lightning right now. They are not getting anything. I mean anything from the bottom two lines in terms of production. They're getting nothing, and that's a problem. We talked about that yesterday with Brian Bradley, but Ross Colton has not had a good start to his season. 4 goals in 21 games. Corey Perry, it seems like. I mean, he had a great chance yesterday, and Swayman just robbed him.
He is just snake bit this year.
He's snake bit this year. Vladdy,
or he's getting old and the shot just ain't as quick as it used to.
Yeah, that's possible. Vladdy Nemestikov, I got to be honest, I expected a lot more out of this. 4 points at this point in the season.
Been very disappointing.
I don't think Maroon has scored a goal. I mean, I'm not asking Belmar to score goals necessarily, but even some of the younger guys like Koepke and the Rudolph Balcers who's new to the room.
You got to get more.
You've got to get more, and obviously we're still early in the season, but something tells me that Julian Breeze-Ball is not going to sit on this much longer of having just zero production from the bottom two lines. Something's going to happen at some point.
The bottom line, it's had moments this year, but man, it's plodding. It's really slow.
Yeah, it is.
And we know that going in, but now it's just when it's funny when they're putting up points. It's tough, rugged, old school, school bus line, and then when they're doing this, you're just like, man, what a waste of
liabilities out there.
Yeah, it just looks really bad. So they got to step up their game, man. You got to step up your game when you're in this part of this season of your career. You got to be the guy that makes those savvy plays around the nets, and we've seen it in the playoffs from Maroon. We've seen it, from Corey Perry. Belmar's been, Belmar does so much for him, but it's just. They got to be better. It's
a risk when you go into the season and you have one of the older rosters in the NHL. Yeah. It's the same thing we talked about with the Bucks going into the season. With an older roster be a problem. I'd argue it has been for the Bucks, and right now for the Lightning, it looks like it is.
Listen, it's okay to have an older roster if you got the young guys to pick you up. And you need. That's why you need Colton. You need some of these younger guys to give you speed, to give you pop. Same thing with the Buccaneers. Of course, the coaching staff needs to give K-Dot opportunities that would help. Needs to give Rashad White opportunities that would help. Needs to give. I mean, right now the Bucs are so slow. They look so slow because a lot of it is because of their offense. They don't use a lot of crossing routes. A lot of their stuff is hooks and come back, guys standing still, not getting hit on the move. So that's part of it too. With the Lightning, I just kind of feel like. A lot of the roster is older, so they don't have that pop. But listen, Braden Point now is healthy and skating, and when he's moving, they look like a faster team. Hagel gives you a little bit of speed. Kucherov is not going to be the fastest skater in the world, but he's just a great skater. He's fantastic. He's not the problem, obviously, but they don't have that explosiveness right now that maybe you would want. And Cirelli obviously is going to give you some of that when he comes back. I mean, that gives you more speed. So. Do they need to add a little bit? Yeah.
I think they do. I think that's been evident here in the 2 games with Boston because all of a sudden, I mean, Boston looks like a completely different team.
They do.
They come night and day under Jim Montgomery than they did with Bruce Cassidy. With 19-3 now and 13-0 at home.
Yeah,
13-0 at home.
Yeah, it's a great home ice advantage. I mean, the crowd is fantastic and always has been. But their new style of play, I think, lends itself to being a better hockey team in the modern day. I think Cassidy was a little bit more, stay at home for the defensemen, and now this style of play he's brought, get the guys involved, bring more pressure, keep the pressure up, is good. Now, I would say don't peak in November and December if you're the Boston Bruins, because teams have lulls. That's how this goes. And there's nobody in the Lightning room that's going, oh my God, we're so far behind. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. It's November. Nobody cares. Go run and hide. Nobody, it's not like the NFL where the number 1 seed really, really means something. Or in basketball when being a higher seed really, really means something. In hockey, as we know, it's almost meaningless in the playoffs. And it's just get in the tournament and go play hockey.
And the John Cooper Lightning team has owned the Bruins in the playoffs during his tenure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Boston is still our bitch. No matter even though they won a couple here.
We might be losing the grip on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. I would think so.
Just like we're losing Tampa Bay just a little bit.
Yeah,
we're slipping a little bit.
We are. We got to be honest. We are. We told you it wasn't going to last forever. We told you it was not going to last forever, folks. Are we on the downside of it? Yeah, probably. But we can have our glimmers of hope. And not to say that the Lightning can't win a Stanley Cup.
No,
we're not saying that at all. It's not to say that the Bucks can't win the Super Bowl. Yeah, they're not winning the Super Bowl. They're not winning. They may win the division by default, but we're going to become that footnote of, hey, remember, was it the Seahawks who won the division at 7-8-1 one year? I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was
the Saints won.
It was the Saints. They played the Saints, and then that was like the Marshawn run.
Yeah, and so you don't want to be known as one of those teams that under 500 that got into the playoffs. Unfortunately, that might be the case for the Buccaneers. They're not at this point. As we transition. Well, let's hear from Cooper first, and then we'll take a break and transition into the Buccaneers.
Up to a lot of good things to kind of take out of tonight.
We didn't get any points, so I don't know. We want to win games, so I mean, we held them to 2 goals, and I mean, probably a little bit of a positive is better showing maybe than we did at home, but in the end, we didn't get it done. It's a tie game in the 3rd period, and you come in here, you don't want to take penalties against Boston. Can't kill off 1 penalty. Shame on us. Anything else?
That second period, though. I mean, did you feel like that might have been one of your better ones?
We played well. Like, we had them on their heels, and it got us back in the game. So it was, we deserved to win that period. We did, but that's not where the game ended. And we're in a back-to-back. It's tough to come in here. They're a rested team. And, we got to grind one out in the 3rd, but we just didn't have that push we had in the 2nd. Maybe we need to get the lead in the 2nd. We didn't, but, again, winnable game, tied going into the 3rd, and we just didn't kill off the penalty we need to.
Are you starting to see a little bit more from the bottom 6 of the last 2 lines? It seemed that those 2 lines – had the puck a lot. They started creating some chances.
They did, and you need that, because we've been kind of top heavy with our, the other 2 lines have been doing a lot of the scoring for us. But it was good to see those guys get a little momentum. But again, we just got to get one by them, and weren't able to tonight.
Yeah, pretty fair assessment. So when you get Salty Cooper right off the top, I think the media kind of like, well, we ain't getting anything today. Is it even worth asking the question?
Money quote is shame on us. Shame on us. And then I just look to the side there,
Yeah, shame on us. That you're like, wow, you gave up a power play goal. You only gave up 2 goals to Boston at home. I mean, he knows his team played better.
It's the standards.
That's the standards. And keep them high. I love the way Coop handles that.
And they said it after the Buffalo game. We didn't play the sound yesterday, but Steven Stamkos, even after the Buffalo game, was like, yeah, we got the win, but we can't play that way. Yeah. You can't afford to play that way. And they know that. But the problem is even though they kind of they've gotten things going at times this year, we haven't seen that lockdown team yet this year. It really has not come.
And it doesn't bother me. You know, here you got a team that's been to the
Oh no, because last year it was awful there for going into the playoffs, and they flipped a switch.
You got a team that's been to the conference final 3 straight years. They've literally played another season of hockey over the last 3 years, and throw COVID and bull crap in there in the beginning as well. So is this team gliding right now? Yeah, of course they are. Are they grinding? At times, I think they grinded last night, and I think there will be games like this one when they play a rival at their home ice, and they're undefeated. That will get their dander up, and they'll. So this is why last night was good to me. I was starting to feel like, are the national pundits right? Is the window closed? Like maybe we're just not that good a hockey team, And then I watched last night. I'm like, we're fine. We're fine. When we need to turn it on, we can play with anybody. This is the best team in hockey right now, or one of. And the Lightning went in there and went toe-to-toe with them. They didn't get the result, but they weren't outclassed. Their window's not closing. They're not old. I don't see that. I think they're still a very, very good hockey
and they're not, by the way, like I said yesterday.
Hedman is just – this is 50% Hedman. He's not. He's injured. Something's going on with him. He's just not there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said yesterday, though, they're one of 5 teams in the conference with a 500 record, over 500 record. They're one of 5 teams, and there's other teams that we have seen in the playoffs lately that are struggling. Florida's struggling a lot right now. New York is struggling a lot right now. Shesterkin is struggling a little bit. So right now, there's a lot of the top teams in the Eastern Conference that we thought are just not there right now.
Right.
We know that.
So as long as, is Boston kind of running away? Yeah, but as long as you stay in touch with the playoffs, the only thing you can't do is get so far behind that, in the last 2 months that you're chasing it, because points are hard to come by.
And I don't think they're going to be doing that.
No, they're not. No. They're not in position to do that. So just stay right where you are. It's a marathon, man. Just keep your pace where it needs to be. Check your watch right in the middle of the pack, or maybe a little bit towards the front so nobody runs you over, and just, do your thing, and in January, start taking a peek at the front, and then February go, all right, how we doing? How we feeling? We good? We good? All right. And then let's start to kick a little bit. And then March, let's go. Let's go. And then that's what you got to do in hockey. The rest, they're playing these games. You're paying your tickets, you're getting your entertainment, you're watching the game. It's all good. But for these guys, they know the deal. And if they were out front right now, like the Bruins, in the marathon, and they're just fine. Go ahead. See ya. Go ahead. Good on you. Long way to go. Long way to go. Heartbreak Hill's not for another 15 miles. So, go on. Have at it. Get that President's Trophy. Woo! And we'll see you in April. All right, we'll take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk some Buccaneers. And, where does this team go from here? Unfortunately, after the press conference the other day, I just don't see them going very far. We'll tell you more when we come back. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com. Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. If you get injured in an accident or your car has been totaled, you didn't get what you think you deserve, you probably didn't, and you probably have a case. So call Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Tell them JP sent you. Back in 3. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive? fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. It's that time of the year to renew or shop your health insurance provider, and you can get great health insurance for $20, $30, $50 a month. Just call 844-310-9961 to help navigate the health insurance marketplace. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are uncovered because they think they can't afford it. It's not true. I made the call a couple of years ago, and they helped me get Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, for just $20 a month. Last year, it went up to $49. Are you kidding me? It all depends on your covered like me and thousands of others and save thousands. 844-310-9961.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency, and the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves, JeevesLawGroup.com. If you're injured in an accident, give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, we want to welcome in our good friend Kevin O'Donnell from Fox 13 Sports, been covering local sports here for God, today longer than you were here when I got here, and I'm 25 years in. So you're what, 30 years in?
Going on 36. How about that? Isn't that crazy,
dude? You haven't aged a bit. Like, how's that work? Where's that?
Formaldehyde. Yeah, formaldehyde. It works well.
How you doing, buddy? It's been an interesting.
Good, JP. How you doing?
I'm a little. I've been run through the ringer here on Twitter, doing, trying to report these things and coaching searches. I have a lot of trusted sources, as I know you do, and you trust certain people. And when they tell you stuff, you believe it. And sometimes, sometimes it's right and sometimes it's wrong. And I can just tell you where and I said at the beginning of the show, where I'm at right now. I do think that Deion Sanders definitely wanted those numbers out there that I gave, 5 years, $25 million. I think he's trying to get those numbers up and using Colorado and USF and myself and other reporters to do that. I also got just 2 more text messages from people that I trust that are high up in the USF hierarchy that said Deion is still very, very much in play over there. So I think it's an evolving situation. I think Cincinnati is now in the mix, and that changes everything. I think Cincinnati is pressing hard for Deion, so I think that's changed the equation a little bit. So that's what I'm hearing. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I'm kind of hearing the same things I have been hearing for the last couple of days, is that James Chadwell has been offered the job at USF, but he has not given them a decision. He's kind of weighing his options right now. He's also looking at Liberty, which he's got a very strong religious background, and that's could be a draw for him as well. I still think USF is a better opportunity for him, but he's weighing his options. He may even stay where he is right now, and that's at Coastal Carolina. So USF's in a tough spot right now because I know Deion is certainly in the mix. There's boosters obviously that would love to have him. The fan base would love to have Deion Sanders, but I honestly think that Deion Sanders is looking for a better deal. He's looking for a Power 5 school, and USF does not present that to him right now. And I think he is using USF Bulls interest to drive up his price. But from what I heard, the $525 that you threw out there is a low ball offer from USF. It's not going to be enough for Deion Sanders.
Can you imagine that?
I think I have to go back on this, JP, but if you refresh my memory, Charlie Strong got $5 a year, I think, didn't he?
Well,
at USF?
Yeah, but the thing was, most of that was being paid by Texas.
Right.
So I, it's all relative.
That's true.
Right? It's all relative. And so I don't remember exactly. As I recall, I think out of pocket for USF, it was like, especially in the first few years, it was like 1 million, 1.5, and then it escalated. But I think Charlie was gone by then. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I think it was almost a $10 million 5 year. Now that I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it was 2 a year plus, I think, with the money he got from Texas.
It's a lot more than USF has been paying, and I think
Right.
When you look at the non-Power 5 jobs, is there any coach in the non-Power 5 jobs that are the group of 5 jobs that are making $5 million? I don't think there is.
No, I would think not. I would think not. That is, it's pretty good money. I would take it, and it's a big jump up for Chadwell. He's only making $900,000 at Coastal Carolina, so
it's a big jump up for Deion. I don't think he's making that at Jackson State, not or even close.
Well, you don't know what he's making on the side either.
Yeah, that's true. I know what his NIL deal is. So,
exactly.
With Barstool. So yeah, it's but I think I think if USF comes up with that, I think they're a player. And I've been told that they want to get there, and there's boosters that are willing to do it. But I just think there's a lot more to it, and I think USF and Deion were, these are very meaningful talks. And here's the thing. I agree with you. I think Deion deserves a bigger shot, to be honest with you. And I think he was angling for the Ole Miss job. I think he thought that Lane was definitely leaving and he was going to move right into the SEC. He's already ingrained in the state of Mississippi, obviously, or even the Mississippi State job. There was some talk that Leach might retire. So I think that, and then when that didn't happen, and the Auburn thing, I don't know.
I think Auburn was definitely a target as well.
Right. And when all those things didn't work out, now Cincinnati comes calling, and I think that definitely has changed the equation, no question. But so now I think Deion's sitting there going, okay, well, do I leave now? Do I wait another year? Do I take the USF job for a couple of years? And because, how do you think he would do here? I think he would immediately win the conference. That's just my opinion.
I think in 2 years he would definitely turn this thing completely around. The thing with Deion, though, is that, as quickly as he would build his program, he could leave it just as well. If they don't get moved to a Power 5 and then kind of just springboard off USF and kind of have to restart all over again, because what he brings in is going out with them, either graduating or he's bringing them with him when he leaves. So, do we want something short term? I was told by a coach that was interested in coming here as an assistant under another head coach that really, they'd love to see USF go long term with somebody and not somebody that's going to be a couple of years and done with a Deion Sanders. So I kind of agree with that. If you're building something, you want some stability. You want somebody that maybe is going to be here for at least 5 years.
See, and I would push back on that because this program has become so irrelevant. It
really has, yeah.
And I was talking to some boosters last night, and they're just like, we're at the point now where it's like, do we even want to do this? Do we want to spend all this money for an on-campus stadium, keep going through retread coaches? These coaches are hard to find. It's hard to find the Jamie Chadwells out there. It's hard to find the up-and-comers because they all look good. Jeff Scott looked good. He checked all the boxes, right?
Yeah, look at Mike Norvell. Actually, one season at Florida State, they tried to run him out of town.
Right.
You got to give it a little bit of time. But I think Deion would be the biggest splash, would be the instant injection of adrenaline that this program needs. He'd win here quicker than I think any other coach.
Yes.
Just would he stay is the big question.
Well, and I would push back on that as well, Kevin. When you're as irrelevant as USF is right now, if Deion came in for 2 years and you won, 2 conference championships, even though it's going to be a middling conference with, we know where this AAC is going.
Right.
But I think it sets you up to move to a Power 5. And who knows, maybe, you're on TV. The brand gets bigger. Everything gets bigger. The stadium is underway. It's under construction. I think you're a much more attractive Power 5. And yes, conferences would know that Deion's eventually moving on, but maybe he just has so much success here, and he sees it as maybe we'll move into a Power 5. Maybe I could just stay here at home in Florida and do what I do. I just think to say that you don't want Deion because he's not long term is foolhardy. You are irrelevant right now.
Yeah, really are.
If Deion if he wants to come here for 30 minutes, you say yes. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think too that you touched on too. He's from Florida. He's from Fort Myers, so I think that will be a draw to him. I just think it's going to come down to money and opportunity, what he sees for potential growth. I think Cincinnati. If I had a pick right now and everything was equal money wise, I think he goes with Cincinnati.
Sure.
And then Colorado. I think USF is third on his list. I could be wrong. We'll see. I think both coaches, though, you're not going to hear anything definitive from Chadwell or from Deion Sanders before Saturday because they're playing this weekend.
I agree.
They don't want a disruption. I went through this with my son when he was at James Madison, and they had a coach come in. They were going into the playoffs in the first round, and Mike Hampton, Houston, was being rumored to go to ECU, and it totally affected that team. They got knocked out in the playoff game, a team that was so dominant going into the postseason. So I know it's a distraction. I think Deion's probably handling it as best he can right now, but I think it's going to be a distraction to his team this weekend either way. So, but I think they're going to they would like to hold off the official announcement until after that game.
The other thing that plays into this, it's the SWAC championship game in Jackson, and they're playing Southern, who they beat 35-0 earlier this year. So it's not like, he can just roll out the ball this week.
He doesn't have a whole lot of competition.
Yeah, he's going to blow them out. So I don't think it's not like he's, it's not like Mark Richt, who just got the Georgia job, and he's leaving FSU as the offense coordinator, and we score 0 points in the national championship game. I don't think it's that type of situation where you have a big game. He could literally roll out the ball and they're going to win this week. So I think he could also compartmentalize things. I think he's fine with that, but I don't think he's
used
staying.
to that.
What's your sense about him staying in Jackson? I think he's going somewhere.
Yeah, I think from what I was told this morning from a coach of one of the kids that he's recruiting, is that he's telling his recruits that I will be at a different school on Sunday. He said Power 5, and I don't know if that was just some confusion, but he did say he was going to be a Power 5 school on Sunday. That would eliminate USF, but I still think USF is in the picture.
Yeah, I do too. So we'll see how it all goes down, and stay tuned, and we'll find out on Sunday. I got to get your thoughts on the Buccaneers and what
I will tell you one thing.
Yeah,
USF is in a tough spot here because they could lose out on both these guys.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They better be. I'm sure they have a third option, but I know that these two guys, it's not a luck that they either one will end up here at USF.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and this is part of, I feel for Michael Kelly. I really, really do.
Right.
He's got a lot riding on this, and there are a lot of people over there. And I think Michael Kelly's brilliant. I think he's doing a hell of a job over there. But there's no question when you look at, the Jeff Scott situation and giving him an extension and giving
the whole staff an extension.
Yeah, the whole staff. I mean,
and their basketball team's off to a horrible start. So,
yeah, and they gave him Brian Gregory an extension too. So
yeah, he needs a win. He needs a win here.
He needs a W in the worst way. And for my money, I think Jamie Chadwell would be a great choice. I really do. But in this day and age, with how irrelevant, and I've heard boosters at USF tell me this, that Jamie Chadwell, as good a coach as he is, and he might win, does not move the needle. And
right. No, I agree with that. But I think he will win here. I believe he'll win here. He'll have an exciting offense. He'll win here, but he's not going to be the big wow factor if they announce him.
Agreed. All right, let's transition over to the Bucs because I think this is a critical time. I really thought they had turned the corner in Seattle against Seattle and Germany.
Yeah, I agree. I was just floored watching that game.
Yeah, me too.
Going, this is boring. This entire game, not just the end of it, how it ended in the fourth quarter and the overtime. I'm like, up to that point, I was so disappointed just of the lack of offense that we saw out of this team.
What is it? The coaching? I mean, they know my opinion. I want to get yours. What do you see? What do you think is killing this team?
Yeah, as much has been talked about with Tom Brady kind of writing the plays for game plan, you got to point to Byron Leftwich. Is like he's not getting this thing fixed. We are seeing the same issue that we saw from week 1 to now, heading into week 13. This team has not gotten any better. Yeah, we saw a little spark there with a 2-game winning streak, and you kind of thought they got it together over in Germany, but they went right back to who they were last week against Cleveland, and you don't see any progress with this team. I think obviously the offensive line has destroyed this offense. Tom Brady is not comfortable back in the pocket. You can see him. There's time that there's receivers open, and he tries to bail. And I think the problem is those 3 offensive linemen. Now you lose Tristan Wirfs. This is just going to magnify the issue even more. And the receivers you have to be extremely disappointed with. Other than Chris Godwin, I think Godwin has gotten better as the season has gone. The rest of these receivers have not.
Yeah, Gage has given you nothing.
Absolutely.
I think Julio is on the come. I don't know what you've been covering Evans as long as I have, bro. What is up with Mike Evans?
I know. I just thought I didn't see the Mike Evans at the end of that game that I'm used to seeing. Just didn't look like he looked like he was just disappointed or just got dejected of how his opportunities didn't come around earlier in the game, and he doesn't run crisp routes.
No.
He's a possession receiver. He's not a breakaway guy. Yeah, he can hit the home run once in a while on a man. But overall, he's not a guy you're going to get a lot of yak from. Do you know who has the most yak on this team right now?
Or don't tell me. Well, it has to be Julio just because of the two big plays he's made. I would say
it's Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette. Oh my God,
unbelievable! He has more yak than he has receiving yards because he's always behind the line of scrimmage when he gets the ball. But it just blows my mind that he's your breakaway guy, if anything.
Yeah.
If you want to say there's a breakaway guy, I mean, you have a couple guys that have speed. Scotty Miller, he's just not a guy you can be real comfortable with. He's running scared right now. You can tell.
Yeah. He's jumping up for passes.
Jump. Yeah, you learn that in Pee Wee football. Don't leave your feet unless you have to.
Yeah.
He's not had to in two situations that were critical.
And dropped the ball.
I don't think there's a lot of trust there. But they are the bottom line is as bad as Antonio Brown is. Look at the difference when Antonio Brown was in their lineup and how that offense functioned versus what it is without him.
Yeah.
Huge difference. And then Gronk just adds to it. So those two missing pieces. You're 3, now 4 on the offensive line. Yeah. This team is a shell of what was the last 2 years.
But don't you think there's still enough talent there to score more than 17 points a game?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think the line just disrupts. I'm a big believer is that you build your offensive defensive line and you plug the quarterback in.
I agree.
That can be an average guy. A Brad Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, they've won 2 Super Bowls with 2 free agent quarterbacks.
Did you just call my man Bull average? Is that what you just did? I'm going to tell him you
Brad
said
Johnson.
That. Yeah. Did you call him average? That really upsets me.
No, he's a little bit above. No, he's above average.
I know what you're saying.
But I'm saying you can win. You can win in this league with an average quarterback if you have an outstanding offensive defensive line. Is my point.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, but I'm saying you don't have to draft a guy in the first round. I would never draft a quarterback in the first round. I think there's too many misses versus hits. And I think you build your offensive defensive line and you plug in a guy that is not going to lose a game for you.
Go get a veteran. No, I agree with you.
I'll take Garoppolo next year.
Yeah, if you told me,
I'll take him.
If you told me you could have the best defensive and offensive line in football or the top overall pick 3 years in a row to get your quarterback, I say, give me the 2 lines. Give me the 2 lines, and I'll go get a Kirk Cousins or a Brad Johnson, and I'll win. I'll win consistently, and I might just win a Super Bowl. No, I totally agree.
Because those quarterbacks are smart, and they don't put you in bad situations.
Yeah.
And I even said that to Joe Glazer after they won the Super Bowl this last time. I said, you've won two Super Bowls with free agent quarterbacks. Is that the route to go instead of rolling the dice on a first rounder? He goes, well, on the other side, you got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd pass on Patrick Mahomes because how many times have you missed in the first round? You've never hit on a first round quarterback. You've struck out every time.
And it's not everybody does. I mean, first round misses are way because you know what? It's really hard to do. There's 10 guys on the planet that can play quarterback in the NFL really, really well. It's really hard to do. They're hard to identify, but you got to have one, right? You got to have one.
Right.
You don't have, I don't think you have to have Patrick Mahomes to win a Super Bowl every year.
No, not at all. And then look at Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He took too much of that salary pool with his and as soon as he did that, I said they will not make the playoffs.
Yeah, Devontae Adams was
no, they're a good team. They won 13. They were 13-3 the last couple of years. Now, really, he just took a chunk of their salary cap, and they are not going to be able to put anything around him to win. That's exactly what happened. You can't dump all your money, and that's what makes Tom Brady so valuable. Right. Is that he always took below market value for his position and his success.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. Well, yeah, and so I'm looking at this Bucs team, and I'm like, you're 5-6. You're not going anywhere because I just don't believe in this coaching staff. When Todd Bowles made those mistakes the other day, these are the things that we see out in plain sight, right? In terms of bad coaching. And it just tells me that there's so much more under the water that we don't see when you're screwing up like that. And I love Todd as a man. I think he's an awesome dude, but he's just not a head coach. I think he's too nice a guy. And he's just not progressive enough in his thinking. You got to take timeouts on defense. You got the best quarterback in the history of the game in terms of comebacks. You got to give him more time. You got to take time out when you got the ball. You can't be punting from the 37-yard line, the opponent's 37-yard line on 4th and 2.
Right.
These are archaic
He's very,
decisions.
very conservative.
And to double down on it on Monday, I'm like, I'm out. If that's the way you're going to coach this team has no chance to go anywhere. Sorry.
Well, you've gone from somebody who's just super aggressive in Bruce Arians to someone who's very passive in how he tries to balance his defensive time on the field and his offense. And I think that's the mistake right there. At best, though, I'm going to tell you, at best, they win 9 games. And if somebody gets hot like Atlanta, I think Atlanta has the potential to get hot versus anybody else in that division.
That group,
they could knock them out. And if they don't make the playoffs this year, you tell me what happens. I know what happens.
Well, you can't bring him back.
There's no way. There's no way you can.
No way. No, you clean house, because I don't think Brady's playing again. It's a total
not in this situation. I'm guaranteeing he's regretting coming back at this point of looking what he's playing right. He keeps saying that he'd rather play and lose than not play.
Yeah.
But I think he's looking at, man, if I had known this offensive line was going to be like this, I wasted my time, my last year of talent to come back here.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have pushed Bruce Arians out the door then.
I don't know about that. I'm not sold on it. Yeah. I side with Bruce on that. I think they've had their disagreements, but every player's going to have a disagreement with the coach at some point.
I don't believe he pushed him out, but maybe there was a slight nudge. I'll err to the slight nudge. And you know what?
Yeah, I don't think they were
I think
100% in agreement. I know they weren't 100% in agreement all the time.
I think Tom's regretting it right now.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Well, Bruce isn't too far down the hallway. Just ask him to, hey, give me a hand here. I think Bruce has a lot of input on their play calling.
I've been told
I think it's on their first 15 plays. I think that's where he's given they have success on those.
Yes,
right? And then all of a sudden Byron's got to play as the game goes. He's got to adjust his game plan as it goes. And I think that's where it falls apart. It falls apart.
Not working so
you know?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. We're always aligned, Kevin. I appreciate your time as always, and we'll keep watching as this coaching search unfurls. And I really appreciate you jumping on. Thanks, buddy.
Well, I think officially Sunday we'll know.
Yes, I'll see you at over at the athletic place on Sunday if there's a press conference. We'll see you there.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Kevin. JP. Appreciate it. Kevin O'Donnell there from Fox 13, and follow him on Twitter as well, Kevin O'Donnell. Okay. Well, okay. This thing has been just going off non-stop for 48 hours. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and tell you the latest. Because I'm just being transparent with you folks and telling you what I hear. You can do with it what you will. Also, coming up at 11:15, Corey Long's going to join us from NHL.com. We'll talk some Bolts. He's also a college football expert, very well connected around all these programs. So we'll get his thoughts on the Deion to USF situation. Much more coming your way in our second hour. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo and his team over there will get you right. If you're looking for testosterone replacement therapy, great job with that. Also, if you're looking to lose some weight, get your immune system up, you need a new primary care physician. They'll do all that at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and you'll get personalized attention. That's what they do over there. Also by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back at 3. Stay with us. JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance, because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We thank you guys for joining us each and every day. We're brought to you by Bay Area Minor Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group. If you have an issue with your insurance company, if your car got totaled and you didn't get what you thought you should get, probably the case because insurance companies like to do that, you may have a case. So call the Jeeves Law Group, free call, JEEVES lawgroup.com, and tell them JP sent you. Tell them what you got, what your car make is. They'll look it up. Pretty simple, and they'll say, yeah, we may have a case, we may not. You don't have to pay the attorney's fees. It's a free call. So find out if you have a case. They also do class action suits there, consumer protection. So if you've had an issue with a company that you feel that you've been wrong, that's another thing the Jeeves Law Group does great. They will represent you. And trust me, companies do not want to deal with the Jeeves Law Group. At the worst case, they'll take you much more seriously. If you have a complaint about some business or some transaction that has happened, contact the Jeeves Law Group and they may be able to help you there. It's always great to have an attorney, an aggressive one on your side. So the Jeeves Law Group is the way to go. All right, just a couple more texts that came in. And again, I'm just being very transparent with you guys as far as what I'm hearing. And this comes from another source, another former assistant coach in college football at a couple of different programs, very well plugged in, that tells me I have a source I have no reason not to trust, that he still sees USF as landing spot for Deion. He is playing the schools against each other. That's exactly what I think is going on. I think he's playing the schools against each other to get his price up and his interest up. Cincinnati has come into the play. I think they're mulling this over as well. And I think there may be some other schools that weren't thinking of making a change that are seeing, oh, wow, Deion's considering Colorado and USF and Cincinnati. Maybe we should make a change. So, and I think that he's probably getting more action. And this is what happens when the media reports come out. And, as I said earlier on in the show, is he playing USF and Colorado, and people in the media like me very possibly could be. But I'm also told that he's going to another school come Sunday, and it could be USF, it could be Cincinnati, it could be Colorado. If I'm Deion Sanders, which one of those would I take? Probably Cincinnati. They were in the playoff last year. There's a lot of good football players there. And they're going into the Big 12 this year, right? This coming season.
Yeah, I was going to say from a UCF standpoint, which is my camp. I mean, that'd be a nightmare scenario for because that's probably UCF's biggest rival outside of USF. Obviously, the one that they're going to play every year now, like they have been in the AAC. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, we still got 4 or 5 days to go until all these decisions will be made.
And I think we had some Colorado people on there that wanted to. Who we got? Pop their stuff up.
Yeah, this was a question for you right here. Why the complete ignorance at Deion likely going to Colorado, like completely overlooking that's the most likely destination?
Well, I'll just tell you from my sources, inside the Deion camp, that it's recruiting would be an issue there. Obviously, he doesn't have a lot of contacts in the West. He's much more at home in the South. I think his ultimate destination are more SEC, Big Ten, ACC related. So I think if he has a choice, And Colorado, for all, listen, we have a house in Breckenridge. I love Colorado. It's the most beautiful place. And people think, oh, it's cold weather. It's really not. Colorado, there are times of years that it is cold, no question about it. But it's not like it's North Dakota or something like that. It's, for Denver is pretty temperate for most of the football season. Okay. It's not like some, Arctic Siberian place.
Yeah.
But Colorado has, very little tradition. And you could say, well, what does USF have? Well, nothing. But it is home, and it would be a better recruiting spot. It's a much easier place to win. He would win faster at USF than he would at Colorado.
I will say, Colorado has the advantage of already being in the Power 5. Now, we don't know what that's going to look like in the next few years because we have
what the Pac-12 is going to look like.
Have no idea because USC and UCLA are going. I know Colorado has great facilities. Colorado has a nice scenic view on the stadium and all that stuff.
Beautiful. Fantastic.
It's one of the harder rebuilds in the Power 5. Nobody's gonna tell you any different. But Deion does kind of strike me outside of the money stuff. He does kind of strike me as somebody who kind of would enjoy, because he's doing it at Jackson State, enjoying rebuilding a program and kind of putting his own foundation there. He does kind of strike me as somebody who would do that rather than, taking the easy way. Like if Auburn had really offered it to him and been like, hey, come to Auburn. It's already established. We just want you to steer it, whatever.
Right.
I see it from that standpoint, the advantages of taking over a Colorado. Obviously the USF is the same thing, but you can argue there's a little bit more stability being at Colorado because of the P5 status right now.
I think that's fair. But I also think you go into that situation, there's not a whole lot of talent, and you still have to go up against other Power 5 like USC, UCLA has gotten a lot better. Utah, Washington. I mean, he's going to be going up against the big dogs right away with a talentless team.
I don't think
not talentless because he'd bring in.
Well, I don't think the Oregons of the world, the Washingtons of the world, and some of the other leftovers there in the Pac-12, the big teams, I don't think all of them are going to be in the Pac-12 much longer.
Yeah,
but I don't foresee that happening.
But for the next couple of years, they are.
And also, I just think in general, you put Deion Sanders in any program in the country, the name carries so much weight to a recruit. I know that it doesn't make sense maybe on the surface because it's out west and everything, and he's a Southern dude and all that. But I just think his name kind of overvalues that to where it would work. I think he's going to work anywhere. To be honest with you, you could stick him anywhere. It's going to work. You can put him in Arizona for crying out loud.
But I think Colorado. I think his next move is an interim move because I think he has to go now. I think he wants to go now. I think he's set up and he's told his players that he's going now. Okay, so his next move is an interim move because there's no big job out there right now that fits him perfectly because he missed out on Auburn, thought Ole Miss was coming open, Mississippi State might come open. These SEC jobs did not pan out, come open the way he thought. So now I think he's like, you know what? It might be better just to grab the money. And if they're going to pay you $5 million a year, that's a huge bump to what he was making. It's a lot more money. So he gets his money grab. If it's Colorado, USF, or Cincinnati, he's going to a better place. And I think his best chance to improve. See, Cincinnati, the expectations are already what? You're going to win. You need to win the Big 12.
Are they
moving in? Yes, of course. They went to the playoff last year, bro.
And the AAC.
I know, but no, the playoff is the entire nation, as you know. So they went to the playoff last year. Expectations are if he comes in there and wins 8 games at Cincinnati, you think they're going to be happy?
Yes.
No. Hell no.
Yes.
Hell no. You think you're going to be?
I'll say it as a UCF fan is going to the Big 12. If UCF wins 8 games next year in the Big 12,
you didn't go.
I'm over
you
the
didn't
moon.
play for the national championship.
I'm over
last
the moon.
Year. You didn't play. You weren't in the playoff last year. It's different.
Yeah, it says national championship on the stadium. Damn it. Okay.
No, it's different expectations. He comes to the USF and wins 8 games. They're going to crown him king of Tampa. And the chances are he's going to win 10 in that crappy conference that they're going to be in next year.
If Deion Sanders won 8 games at Colorado, if he won 8 games at Cincinnati, I think every fan of those programs would be over the moon. Over the moon.
Colorado, yeah. I don't know about Cincinnati. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll ask Corey Long. He's smarter than both of us when it comes to college football. So we'll ask Corey Long. Quick break. We'll talk some Bolts with him. He writes for NHL.com and Walter Football. So the entertaining and always loquacious Corey Long coming up next. time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sports.
Hey
JP.
guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVDSLawGroup.com, and Italiano Insurance. Time for your insurance checkup at the end of the year. Prices are going up on everything, right? So why not save money on insurance? It's a free call, 813-877-7799. Let them shop your auto insurance, your homeowner's insurance, life insurance, business insurance, all your insurance products. Let them shop them around all the dozens of companies that they represent. Sometimes companies come in the market, want to gain more market share. They lower their prices, and you can get the same coverage for a lot lower. So why not do it? It's a free call. Let them do the work. You save all the money. It's the insurance checkup at Italiano where humans answer the phone. Really? Yes, they do. 813-877-7799. All right, let me talk to one of my favorite humans, Corey Long from NHL.com and WalterFootball.com. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, just peachy. I love Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter will get you, man.
Yeah. But hey, I'm doing the best I can. Put my sources out there, the information I'm getting, keeping people updated. So whatever.
So what's kind of the update today? Refresh me here.
All right, so here's the deal. So yesterday, I get all this information from somebody very, very close to Deion, like right next to him, that texts him every day, that he has had great conversations with the USF. They've agreed on almost everything. The deal is not done yet, but they're very, very, and it gives me all the numbers, which clearly Deion wanted out there. And I touched base with some of my USF boosters. Yes, he was in Tampa yesterday. He was seen at the airport by 5 different people. A couple people on campus saw him as well. I'm putting everything together, talking to other boosters. Is Deion in play? Yes, Deion's in play, blah, 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 blah. So I went with what I know, and I put it out there. And then a few hours later, of course, when I put it out there, you get tons of response from reporters, other coaches, boosters, and a lot of them are like, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And some are like, nah, it's not happening. It's not happening. Your information is wrong. So, it is what it is. I'm putting it all out there. I'm telling people what I know, what I think are trusted sources, and we'll see where it goes. What do you think?
Yeah. I think I think it's one of the most interesting coaching searches ever. And I think a lot of people have seemed to have, caught on to that report. And generally they believe that South Florida is the best place for them. I mean, when we talked after Jeff Scott got fired, and I said, I said, let's do a Deion to USF thing. I certainly wasn't thinking it would actually happen, even though I didn't think it was the worst idea in the world. I just didn't think USFA would put up the finances to do it, and I didn't think Deion would think of it. I didn't think he would think of it as a viable option for him, given where he wants to be.
Right. I would agree with that, and I agreed with you. I said no. I think he's got bigger aspirations and bigger Power 5 aspirations. He could jump to the Power 5 right now. He could jump to an SEC school. He's proven that he's serious about coaching and he can win at that level. We don't know if he can win at the P5 level, but with NIL and recruiting the way it is now, I don't think there's any question that he can win anywhere he goes. He will be a star in the coaching front. I don't think there's any question about that. But I also think that these P5 opportunities that he thought were going to come his way, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Auburn, have not panned out. So what's he left with? And now I think he may look at these remaining opportunities. Well, you handicap them. You know these programs: Colorado, Cincinnati, USF. What do you think would be best for him?
I think Colorado is not. I don't think Colorado's a good fit on a lot of levels.
I agree.
I don't see that one. So where Colorado might be the most interesting fit is they might have the finances to make it interesting. But I would see him using Colorado as a point for helping him negotiate with other schools. Cincinnati is really interesting. And I was surprised because that kind of goes against the hires that Cincinnati has made. If you look more recently, they hired Brian Kelly, Butch Jones, Luke Fickell. I think they're definitely caught. I think they were caught with their pants down a little bit on Luke Fickell leaving. He turned down the Michigan State job, before Mel Tucker took it. So, and with them heading into the Big 12, him going to the playoff, I think they felt like he was really at this program, like he was going to be basically the coach of record for the program,
right?
For the rest of his life. So I think they're a little surprised at that, but still, like I said, their hires don't tell me that but I could see where they would be interested. You're going into a big conference. You need to have more of a national profile with your next coach, whereas Fickell was a coordinator, like Brian Kelly came from D2, so there's an intrigue there. You can win at Cincinnati. You can get kids, they've always done a decent job of getting kids from the Southeast at Cincinnati, like that staff, that old Cincinnati staff. They've got kids there, for many, many years. Even going back to their old days in the Big East when they were, going up against USF a lot. Mm-hmm. So, that's an intriguing one. But, I mean, if the money is what it is, USF makes the most sense because it's the easiest job
to make a jump.
It's the easiest job. It's the place he can accumulate the most talent. It's the regionally it works for him. With the conference, basically with the conference becoming sort of a blown up conference USA, it's very winnable. And you look you look at their non-conference schedule, which is very ambitious, and you think, wait a second, they're hosting Alabama next year.
Yep.
That's kind of interesting. That's a great selling point right away to kids that, the kids that maybe USF wouldn't otherwise be looking at, especially in the transfer portal, is that, we got back-to-back games against Alabama. We got a conference we can win. There's going to be opportunities here where USF could get some serious national attention.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you, because the only thing that happens poorly for Deion on this next step, right, is that if he goes to the next step and fails, well, then he's not getting a Power 5 job, right? Everybody's going, see, he could do it at Jackson State, but he went to Colorado and couldn't beat those teams in the Pac-12. And so then his star just dims, right? So
yeah.
So his next stop, which is going to be an interim stop, because there's no P5 jobs, excuse me, open right now that he wants. So this is an interim stop. If he goes and wins a conference championship just 1 and 2 years at USF, he's still the shining star. He's still the next P5 will come and get him, because he's going to get recruits. He'll be making all that. He's got this guy, he got this guy, he got this guy. And he's winning games, winning conference. He's ready to go. What he can't do is go to a program, a P5 program right now that's hard to win at, which is Colorado, and fail, because then it's all over, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, when I was thinking of it too, and I was thinking of just listening to what you reported, some of the things that he wanted were, it's like, okay, if he wants his son to start, Colorado's probably the better spot. Colorado and Cincinnati are better spots than USF, because I think USF's got a tremendous quarterback prospect that I don't think they want to lose.
Right.
And I think if he's not given an opportunity to start next year, they would lose him, because there's a lot. I can tell you right now, there's probably 24 P5 schools that would absolutely take a run at him.
Which begs the question, why was he fourth string? But whatever.
He's a true freshman, and they brought in, they literally broke their backs to bring in Gary Bohannon.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But that's also why the coach isn't here anymore. So,
right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's really, Sunday is going to be such an intriguing day, because they put it to where it's either going to be, you feel like it's going to be either Deion or Jamie Chadwell, and there's no bad side in either one of those. Jamie Chadwell's done a hell of a job at Coastal Carolina, runs a very exciting program, should do very well here, by all accounts. And, he doesn't bring the national, obviously no one brings a national profile to USF that Deion does, but it's still a hell of a good coaching hire.
Yep.
So really right now you're feeling it's kind of a win-win situation. The worst case, the quote-unquote worst case scenario is you get Jamie Chadwell. Oh my God, you get a guy that's won 35 games in the last 3 years. You should be so lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we'll find out Sunday. But I do think.
Oh, before we go, what about your boy Dillingham? What do you think? You think he's going to do well at Arizona State?
I don't know. I mean, he's not. These guys that are coming up as coordinators, man, they're all hot shots, and they talk a good game. I mean, look at Jeff Scott. He checked all the boxes, right? I could go to so many of these coordinators that were hot coordinators, and then they get the job, and they just don't know how to manage people, or it's a tougher job than they think. I mean, being a head coach in college or in the NFL, in college especially, you got to be such a chameleon and be able to do so many different things. And if you fall down in any one of those personal assets, you're not going to win. So it's just a tough thing. So does this guy know offense? Does he know how to create schemes and open? Hell yeah, he does. Does he? Can he recruit? Probably. Is he a good manager of people? Is he a good manager of the roster? Does he like sending out crazy text messages in the middle of the night that are going to get him in trouble? I don't freaking know. So, I mean, my best guess is, I think he'll do all right. But who
I don't know,
knows?
Man. First of all, he graduated in 2012, which is like, what were we doing? We were doing adult stuff in 2012.
That's like 10 days ago.
It's crazy. But I look at it, I'm like, every time I see him, he looks like a guy that everything he knows about football he got off of a textbook. Like, I don't know if he understands like the actual instinctual areas of the sport. I'm just curious. I'm excited to see how this works out, to be honest with you. It might be, I'm really intrigued. Just, obviously, the little, and just his whole path. He's a GA at like 2016 is how he gets his start. And he just magically is OC at 3 programs, 4 programs.
Right.
And it's something like, how?
Yeah. So
like, what am I missing here?
Yeah. So my initial, when I say I don't know, it's like I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think it's a home run hire. If USF hired him, I'd be like, meh. Here we go again. Because Jamie Chadwell at least has a resume as a head coach. He has a resume.
Absolutely.
Deion has a resume as a head coach. Yeah, Deion has a resume, and I know that his talent level is way above a lot of the teams he plays, but that's because he's a great recruiter, and that's part of the game. So
think about it. Travis Hunter could actually be playing at USF
instead of FSU. Oh, screw you! This is why I hate you sometimes. But he's
lining up at USF next year. Oh man!
And oh, by the way, FSU's 9-3 under Mike Norvell.
FSU did go 9-3 this year. Congratulations! That was a scary game until at the end. Did Adam Fuller not have film on Florida's number 7 wide receiver? Is that why he burned him so much in the first half?
Are you talking about Ricky Pearsall? Is that
Ricky Pearsall? Is that his name? I don't even know his name.
Yeah. He's one of those guys where you're like, oh, he's not running by me. Oh, what just happened?
Travis McGrifton is what he did.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I would tell you this. Listen, I thought Mike Norvell did a hell of a job. I'm happy for Trey Vincent. I was tweeting during the game, and I was saying this is his last college game, and I was half joking, but I was being very real at the same time. Like, I don't think he's going to play another. He shouldn't play another college game if he's smart.
I hear he's coming back. I hear he wants to come back.
These kids aren't as bright as they used to be, apparently.
I know. Hey, listen, if I were him, I'd go to the pros. If he comes back, I'll be shocked. But there are people up there that kind of believe that he wants to come back. But the kids say that right after a big game, and and then when his agent sits down with him and goes, "All right, that's all cute and not, but you're going to the NFL."
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Do you think Jordan's going to come back?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do think Jordan's coming back. I think Jordan's smart enough, and he's that type of kid that he understands his NFL future is iffy at best. He's going to be a 6th or 7th round pick. He's not going to be a high pick. Not to say that he won't be he can't have success, because you doubt Jordan Travis at your peril. Okay, the dude's a gamer. He comes back. First of all, he's going to make money. He's going to make as much money at FSU as he would make as a 6th round pick. He's going to be a Heisman candidate. I'm not saying he's going to be the favorite, but he's going to be a Heisman candidate. He's going to put up huge numbers. Most of his receiving corps coming back. The team's on the rise. They can win it. They can win an ACC next year. A real outside shot at getting in the playoff. Who knows? But he's going to be a big deal. If he leaves, he's going to be on a practice squad. Nobody's going to hear from him again. Next year could be the biggest year of his life. Not saying it's going to happen, but he could win a Heisman. They could win the ACC. They could win 10 games. It's possible. I didn't think it would be possible this quick, but it's possible. So why would you?
Mike's got to fire some coaches, though, man. That defensive staff's got to change. I get that they were really good against a bunch of backup quarterbacks for the second half of the season, but when they faced a team that had any offense they faced with a pulse this year, really got over
and Clemson.
I'm sure Adam Fuller's a nice guy, but he ain't. This is. Not everybody's made out for this level. And sometimes you can't just hope, you gotta make changes. This is big boy football. You have to make tough decisions.
I agree with you.
Him running back that same defensive staff, it ain't gonna work.
Speaking of that, what'd you think of Todd Bowles' game management on Sunday?
Oh man.
And then doubling down on Monday.
It's going into that game, I was like, it's a weird game. They've had a lot of time off. It's a road game against a team that's just kind of tricky, and I don't really know what to think of the Browns from week to week.
Yeah.
Why did they just get? Why was Rashad White such a non-factor at times when he was so good when he was a factor? Like, I don't really get why they just don't seem to have any consistency on what they're trying to do on offense. It's just
because they don't have coaches that at least I don't think. Listen, Corey, you know how this works. You go over a game film, you find the weaknesses in the other team, you come up with schemes and plays that in sequences that will take advantage of it. And if by chance you have a 4th and 2 from the 37-yard line late in the game to go up to, and if you get the first down, you're probably going to go up 2 scores, and your defense is playing well, you have a play ready that you know is going to work, right? And what do the Bucs do? They go up to the line and try to draw them offsides and then punt. I mean, right there, you are capitulating. You have no faith in the best quarterback to ever play the game to get you 2 yards. You don't have a play that you know is going to work, and you've had 2 weeks to get ready for this team. That's the 30th ranked scoring defense in football, and you don't have a play for 4th and 2. And then you double down the next day, and you're not going to allow the GOAT. I mean, I could go on and on. He's just.
I don't know. I don't know what was with Tampa offensive coaching this week. It's like you're telling me that you're going to run 3 inside handoffs against your rival, 3 zone read inside handoffs, and let like the 129th defense in college football salt away a 1-point game for you,
dude.
It doesn't happen like that.
He's talking about the USF UCF game. If you don't know, folks, and the greatest comeback in the history of the series, and you have a 1-point lead. All you need is 1 first down. You've been throwing all over the field on UCF.
They're gassed, space, just sizzling.
And you're going to run into the line 3 consecutive times because you think your defense is going to. The worst defense maybe in the history of college football is somehow going to hold UCF out of the. I mean,
and they had just gotten their stop. They got a fumble, the 3rd turnover of the half. I'm like, y'all better go. I'm just thinking, you guys better go. Get the points on the board. Like,
dude,
no, just be conservative. It's like, I'm like, this is so God. So yeah, I don't know. And I mean, like, that also tells me that Tom might not have as much control as we thought. Because there's no way in hell Tom's going to agree to go try to do a fake, try to do a dummy snap, 4th and 2 at the 37.
Well, you saw what happened. He was pissed after they made him do that. After they made him do that, he was pissed. And also,
Absolutely.
And the reason he didn't call timeout after the first play in right before regulation is because he was told not to. Imagine that. Todd Bowles telling the GOAT with 32 seconds left, if you don't get any yards on first down, we're not even going to call time and give you a chance to go 35 yards in 28 seconds with 2 timeouts. Because
there's so much disconnect there. It's just not even funny. There's just so much disconnect there.
Hey, what'd you think of the Bolts last night? I thought they played really, really well.
I thought they played a very good game. I thought they ran out of gas late, unfortunately. Made them one. The thing is, you can make one a game like that, 1-on-1 game. Because let's be honest, 1-on-1 game against the Bruins at their house, you're probably hoping to take that. Let's see if we can get this point here, but. You're walking such a thin line against such a good team right now. Just one little mistake is gonna, one little mental mistake is gonna, mess that one up for you, and that's what happened. But I thought, what a heck of a comeback against Buffalo.
Yes.
Game they trailed all the way, but just a great grind them out, figure out a way to win, figure out a way to get points. And last night they almost did it. I mean, you talk about if they'd have gotten a result last night and win the other night, that's you've already got a successful road trip. But happy to get a day or 2 of rest before playing Philadelphia because that 3rd period you could tell that team they were fighting on fumes. They were really tired. Those legs were starting to get really heavy.
Yeah, agreed. But the fact that there's a narrative out there that we've talked about that they're too old, they're too slow, their window is closed. You start. I'm looking at the team this year. I'm like, they haven't been great, but I still don't believe that. But last night I was like, let's see how they match up against the best team in the league, and they were fine. They were fine. They weren't outclassed. They weren't too slow. They weren't any of that stuff. So
guys the thing is, the guys are starting to come along. The guys on defense are starting to figure out the rules.
Yep.
They've got, the first line is really starting to, it feels like, guys like Hagel, that are really starting to find that, finding some scoring touch. I'd love to see Ross Colton put a few more in net, but I think, that's probably the one area where they're slacking at right now is he just hasn't warmed up yet. They might have to kind of figure out something with him to get him
the bottom two lines got to get going. They got to get going. But it's it's a marathon. Nobody's freaking out right now. Like I said earlier, just Boston, you want to run up front and run away from the pack in the first fourth of the race here in the marathon, the Boston, you go right ahead. I'll just wave at you. We're just gonna.
The thing is, the top four teams in the Atlantic have pretty much already separated themselves at this point. So they're going to be. So it's just, you want to, at best, you want to be in that 2-3 spot. You kind of don't want to play the wild card game because you never know what's going to happen there. But those top, Boston, Toronto, Tampa, Florida, they've already started to establish that little bit of separation, and it's going to continue down the line. The bottom end of the teams in that division are young and they're not ready yet. So, this is what we expected.
All right, my friend, tell everybody how they can get your great content.
At Corey Long on Twitter, I've just been making fun of Auburn for the last day or so because they strive to they have strived to reach the bottom for so long, and I think they finally got there. I think they finally did it. I'm so proud of Auburn.
All right, yeah, they did. They did the most Auburn thing possible, right?
They did the most Auburn thing they could. You thought trying to hire Bobby Petrino secretly was the most Auburn thing they could do. They won better, Jeff.
Oh, you're the best. You are the best. All right,
you
thanks,
have a
buddy.
good one,
You're
buddy.
The best. You always make me laugh. Yeah, we have a good time with Corey. All right, quick break. When we come back, Jeff Attinella is going to join us, former MLS star and USF goalkeeper. He is our local World Cup expert. We'll get his thoughts on the United States men's national team and the World Cup, and we'll have a couple more nuggets for you as well. Quick break here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you joining us. Brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center and the Jeeves Law Group. Also, Taliano Insurance and our good friends at American Mortgage Services. Scott, Fitzgerald, Scott at amstampa.com. If you need a mortgage or a refi, rates are actually coming down now. So get back in the game at Scott at amstampa.com. Best in the business if you need a loan. Is Jeff with us yet? I don't see his camera on. But Jeff, turn your camera on if you can, and we'll bring you in as we're going to talk a little bit more World Cup here with Jeff Attinella, former goalie for the Portland Timbers in the MLS and the USF, All-American.
Can you guys, hey, sorry, boys, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you. You sound great.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working.
We can't. All right, we'll just listen to your wonderful voice. How are you, my friend?
I have a face for radio, so that's pretty good.
There you go. So what did you think of Team USA yesterday in a must-win game against Iran?
I mean, it was pretty impressive. Just the first half was very dominant. I think as a fan who really thinks his team has the potential and the talent to go actually pretty far in this tournament, you would have liked to see them get more than one goal so that the rest of the game was, not as high stress and, they didn't have to grind it out the way that they did. But at the end of the day, you have the youngest team in the tournament in a must-win situation, and to be on that stage, to have a game with that much magnitude and that many people, tuning in around the world, to grind out a win like that. And, there were a couple opportunities where Iran could have put the ball in the back of the net and made things a little bit miserable here for us in the States, but we ended up grinding out the win. You saw some guys that play in the MLS come on playing big minutes, which for me was pretty cool to see, just because those are a lot of guys that have been around, the U.S. and the U.S. soccer scene specifically coming on in that stage and grinding out the win. So, I'm never going to complain about 3 points and advancing out of the group if you're the United States.
Hey, when we talked to you last week going into this World Cup, we were talking a lot about Matt Turner, and I had mentioned, he hadn't played in a while, the layoff at Arsenal, and coming into this World Cup with no experience. But in this game against Iran and even against England, I just felt so comfortable with him back there. I think he's been awesome. How would you rate his performance here in this World Cup so far?
He's been so incredibly solid and just calm and confident. I mean, from watching another goalkeeper perform and knowing what it's like to play on a big stage and, play in a big moment and just know what he's going through in terms of his emotions and trying to keep everything calm. There was a moment, I think it was in the 85th or 86th minute, where someone on Iran hit a shot from a long ways out. It might have been a shot, it might have been a through ball, and he's standing right in front of the goal. And instead of catching it, he chest traps the ball down to waste 10 more seconds. And you only do things like that when you're playing as confident as you can be. And to be doing it, with the whole world watching and on that type of scale and in that type of atmosphere, it's, it just speaks to how confident he's playing. And then, little things too, you watch what he's doing with his feet. He's making all the right decisions and he's being really strong in the air. And, for me, it's just been so impressive to watch somebody do that. Like you said, he hasn't been getting a ton of minutes at Arsenal, but he's playing at a world-class level, and he's doing it when all the lights are the brightest. So it's fun for me as a goalie to see what he's doing.
Well, I don't know as much about the game as you guys, because I told Nick here as I was watching the end of the game, my cojones were in my throat. Christian Pulisic's were at the hospital swollen up, but mine were different. My stomach was in knots, bro. I couldn't handle it. Every time that ball went in, I was freaking out. That last couple of opportunities they had, the header and the last shot, I was like, what are we doing? What is going through your head as a goaltender in those situations? I know you haven't played a World Cup, but you've been in big games. And what was going through Matt Turner's head? I mean, my God, the pressure must be unbelievable.
For me in those moments, I just keep telling myself, you're going to have to make one more play. You're going to have to make one more big save. You don't know when it's going to come. You're not sure when the opportunity is going to present itself. But you're just kind of sitting back there and you're constantly telling yourself, be smart with the ball and just know that at any second you're going to have to make one more big play to win the game. And I think, he ended up getting a touch on that last ball. It was a really dangerous spot for a cross to be. And, I think that's I know that tying for most people in American sports is a tough thing to swallow. It's a tough pill to swallow. But when you get soccer games that are do or die, you need it to advance. You have to win. Those 1-0 games turn into some of the most exciting things you can think of. And the tension is just so high because there are no stoppages. And, I was just as nervous as you were. I mean, obviously we weren't in the same situation as Pulisic, but, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier on the field to control your emotions than it is sitting back, across the world, staring at a TV screen and hoping for the best.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if there's one thing though with this squad that I think we're all kind of waiting on, and it's kind of more of an attacking style of play. Not that they haven't tried to attack, they just have lacked kind of that finishing quality. there's a lot of people crying for Giovanni Reyna, who didn't even play yesterday, right? So if in a hypothetical standpoint, if Greg Berhalter wanted to get more attacking in the squad like a Giovanni Reyna, tactically, how would you think it would work?
Tactically, so I think the big problem, and it's been a problem with American soccer for a while, is we haven't been able to find that dominant forward who can just take a game over, and you whip the ball into the box, you get these crosses into the box, and you know that he's going to be on the end of it causing problems. So I'm not entirely sure we have that on our roster. I thought Josh Sargent did a good job yesterday of holding the ball up and creating a lot of space for the other guys to get opportunities. But when you're talking about tactically going into the next game, you almost have to play it with a false nine. And what I mean by that is, you're playing with a guy that isn't a true forward. You're playing with, a bunch of guys that are pretty buzzing around. They're quick. They're able to create opportunities just for movement off the ball. And, if you're looking for that goal, if you're looking for that desperation moment, especially if Josh Sargent's out, I think that that's probably the way that they should go. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the forward. I didn't think Haji Wright did the best job when he came on yesterday. You're looking for those subs to kind of make a difference and make a spark. And he didn't do a great job with hold up play for us. So I'm not sure if we have that guy on our roster that's going to take a game over like that. So if it was me and you're going to start playing Gio Reyna, it would be an odd time to start doing it after all the backlash that, the coach has been gotten the entire group stage. But if you are going to do that, it might be something where you move Pulisic up to that top spot and, you bring in Gio Reyna to help kind of create and just hope that those guys can, have enough combination play or do something special on the ball.
You're confident that this team can go further. They've got the Dutch coming up. Do you think they're talented enough to do that? I do. I don't know much about this game, but I do know this team, it just offensively looks like the Bucks. They need a spark. So put Gio in there and see what the hell happens. Aren't you playing with house money now that you got through?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the cool thing about what's going on right now in American soccer is all of these guys are young, minus Tim Ream, who's been lights out in the back, but all of these guys are young and they're stepping up in these moments and they're doing it confidently. I think Weston McKennie had an interview after the game yesterday where, I think the reporter asked him something about the pressure of the moment and, how the young guys are dealing with it. And he did all that he could for his response to not almost come off as arrogant and saying, these are the situations that this group wants to be in. We believe that we belong on the stage with the best players in the world. And, I have confidence that they can go far because I think that a lot of these younger guys have that kind of irrational confidence that they can play with anybody because a lot of them do it week in and week out. And, as far as offensive firepower, it's tough. It's tough in soccer because, when you step back and you look at the game, we had about 8 or 10 different chances where we probably could have scored. And that's a dominant performance in soccer. And that's what makes those types of 1-0 games so, like you said, for lack of better terms, nuts in your throat, right? Because if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net when you're creating all those chances, it makes things kind of seem like they're a lot tighter than they really are. And then that's how, you end up at the end of games giving up that late goal. But, in terms of being dominant offensively, I think that we've actually done that throughout the tournament. It's just a matter of finding somebody that's going to put that ball in the back of the net when you're getting all these different chances created.
All right, last question. You ever take a nut shot like Pulisic did? I mean, you
Man, too many. That's Pulisic definitely got the worst of that one. But as a goalie, you're kind of just sitting there waiting for people to hit you half the time. And, sometimes you run into these guys that are, you don't, some guys will get, 5 or 4 yards away from you and decide their strategy is going to be to hit it as hard as possible and not really care where the ball is going. So of course you're always on the receiving end of a couple bad nut shots when you're in goal like
that. How do you hide it in front of 100,000 people? That's the other part. It's like you can't.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, everybody knows. All you need is one replay to see where you got hit. But it's really not.
The men in the crowd, no. Yeah, the men in the crowd, no. Absolutely.
Hey, real quick on that goal, by the way. Regardless of the nut shot, but the goal itself. Between the Landon Donovan Algeria, John Brooks Ghana, and now Christian Pulisic against Iran, 1, 2, 3. How do you rank those in terms of the biggest goals in U.S. soccer history, if you can?
Oh man, I would have to say Donovan first, just because that was in the dying minutes, and it was kind of against the run of play a little bit, and man, it's tough. I would honestly say John Brooks second as well because I think in those games, everything was a little bit against the run of play. And with the U.S. yesterday, they were going to score. It came in a moment where, it ended up being the biggest goal because it was 1-0. And, the person that scored it is somebody that deserves all the credit and all the spotlight in U.S. soccer, because he's been a guy that has really set the trend for going overseas and making an impact in big games. But, yesterday the score didn't reflect it, but it was a completely dominant performance. And if they didn't score at that point, they were going to score eventually. So, I would rank them those three, but you're talking about 1A, 1B, 1C, because all of them were massive. And anytime you score a goal that advances you out of the group, it's a big, big deal.
All right, Jeff, great stuff. Tell everybody where they can find you and the latest Smack Apparel stuff that's going on. I love that shirt you sent me. That thing, I'm going to retweet that thing. That's fantastic. That should be a big seller in Michigan.
Yeah, we're pretty fired up about it. I stepped out of a meeting to try to figure out how to get it to every Michigan alum in the world. So we're at smackapparel.com. We're making stuff for everybody. We have a great Michigan shirt that just dropped, and, we're on top of everything. And, for me personally, it's at Jeff_Attinella1. I'm usually tweeting about some form of sport or something going on. So, feel free to follow me there. And if you want to check out something for the holidays, man, Smack Apparel, we're making some great stuff right now, and it's been a lot of fun.
Smackapparel.com, great website. They've got some great shirts. Just fun to go on the website, but buy you something too, because it's good. There's a gift for any Michigan fan. You got a Michigan fan over Christmas, go to their website right now and see their new one. I'm going to retweet it, and you will be their favorite person in the world if you get them that shirt. All right, thanks, Jeff. We'll talk next week when after we beat the Dutch.
All right, sounds great, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff Attinella there from the Portland Timbers, USF. I think he has a stint with the Rowdies as well, maybe a little bit. Our soccer expert. All right. Well, it's been an eventful day. 24 hours for me. Thank you guys for joining us. And again, my apologies to anybody in USF fandom that got their hopes up for Deion. Not that he's not in the mix. He's still very much in the mix, folks. It's just not at the 90% clip that I thought. That's why I said it wasn't done, because it wasn't done. And he may be using USF in Colorado and Cincinnati. I don't know. We will find out. But USF is still very much in the mix for Deion Sanders or Jamie Chadwell. Either one's going to be good. So I'm just going to keep telling you what I hear, what I know. And you haters out there, you can hate all you want. Do what you got to do. Love you all. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Have a great day, everybody.